Good evening. Today is the 7th December 2023, and it's remarkable because we are having the grand finale of the Zephyr Quiz League Season 4. For this season, the questions were set by Abhinav Dhar, Abid Abdullah, Anvay Ghosh, Major Chandrakant Nair, Kushan Patel, Krishna Girish, Sanya Narulkar, Siddhant Rao, Shubhadeep Sarkar, Vineet Shashidharan, Vikas Plakot, Vivek Tejuja, and yours truly. And we were supported in this massive endeavor by Chitrak Mukherjee, Dinesh Kritivasan, and Anvay Ghosh. Our readers, thanks all of you for keeping the league going with all your enthusiastic efforts. These are our top readers, and we had over 80 of them, topped by Prerna Prakash. Our tier champions for this season, we had Amit Dey on tier 2, Rishikesh Verma on tier 3, Jeffrey Seguritan on tier 4, Nitish Khadia on tier 5, Sham Shreyas on tier 6, Jayant Mahadevan on tier 7, followed by Sudarshan Aji, Anurag S, Aditya Gangrade, Madhav S, John Liu, Shreyas Joshi, Anup Kumar, Rohan Mitra, John Van Maris, and Umang Srivastava, totally 17 tiers. And here are our category leaders. Our culture vultures were Kunal Roy and Ishita Das. The master of the game was Anup Kumar. Jayakanthan topped in media studies, and our science expert was Sri Patwardhan. Our history expert was Devashri Mitra. Anant Sharma was the king of entertainment, and the lifestyle guru was Shudipto Shom, while the world leaders were Karthik S. and Chin Feng. So let's meet the grand finale of the Zephyr Quiz League Season 4. This gentleman on seat 1 would be very familiar to you. He has participated in several grand finales of the Zephyr Quiz League. And if I'm not mistaken, he just narrowly missed out last year to win the league. And that's Pat Gibson, who is first on our leaderboard. In seat 2, I think coming in first time on the Zephyr Quiz League, as far as I can recall, is Dan Feitel. He was 5th on the leaderboard. In seat 3, we have Jayakanthan, another familiar face from our grand finales in the Zephyr Quiz League. He was on leaderboard 13th. And in seat 4, Jimmy Lee, who also featured last year, in the last season rather, of the grand finale in seat 4, Jimmy Lee. So congratulations to all 4 of you. And let's get on with the league. Here comes the first question to Pat Gibson. The German language makes extensive use of compound words, and several animals are named by combining 2 common descriptive words. Formed from the words shield, meaning shield, and krut, meaning toad, Schildkröte is the German word for which reptile that has adapted to living underwater?
Tortoise or turtle?
Can you repeat that, Pat?
Tortoise or turtle?
Okay, I'll give that to you. It's turtle is what we were looking for, since you mentioned that. Yep. Here comes your second question, Pat. In The Fall of the House of Usher, the show, the Roderick Usher Experimental Lab engages in such dubious primate experiments that it was dubbed the blank, blank, blank zoo. Those 3 blanks are 3 letters. As the word on the street got around that many animals died, the word zoo was regretfully replaced, the lab now being called the blank, 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 something else. What was this poetic nickname of this place? The first 3 blanks are the same initialism. You have 10 seconds left.
Ape Cemetery.
Not cemetery. Passing to Dan.
Rue Morgue.
Rue Morgue is what we were looking for. Yes, well done. This was a reference to murders on the Rue Morgue. In the TV show, the word Rue stands for RUE, Roderick Usher Experimental, the name of the lab. Dan, you picked up one in the past there. So here are your two questions coming up. Which programming language for building websites at epic scale was created by Facebook as a dialect of PHP? Its four-letter name is often associated with cybersecurity lapses or describing a job completed very hastily. The visual is helpful.
Hack.
Hack is absolutely right. Well done. And Dan, here is your second question. During his terms as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger sanctioned and oversaw many debilitating military operations around the world. Kissinger's foreign policy supported which dictator in executing a coup in Chile in 1973? It overthrew the democratically elected government led by Salvador Allende.
Pinochet.
Pinochet is correct. Augusto Pinochet it is. Next question to Jayakanthan. This manga set in a dystopian Tokyo where people have to compete in dangerous games to extend visas and stay alive. It's a reinterpretation of an 1860s novel where the protagonist enters a new world, except this is set in a world where its fringes are controlled by lasers. Which manga, 5, 2, and 10 letters, adapted by Netflix into a series in 2020? And we have a picture for you there. And your time is up, Jayakanthan. Any guesses?
Heart of Darkness.
Not Heart of Darkness. Jimmy, would you like to try?
Alice in Borderland.
Alice in Borderland is absolutely right. And that's points to you, Jimmy. Jayakanthan, your second question. Which civilization was known for its portraiture pottery, ceramic vessels featuring highly individualized representations of human faces? With their lands set between the Pacific Ocean and the Andean Cordillera, this culture thrived from 100 to 800 CE, with their namesake capital near present-day Trujillo in Peru. And your time is up, Jayakanthan. Any guesses?
Toltec.
Not the Toltecs. Pat?
Chan Chan.
Not the Cha-Cha. Jimmy?
I will pass.
Passing. And Dan?
I'll pass as well.
It'll pass as well. Okay, here comes the answer. It's Moche or Moche, depending on how you wish to pronounce that. That's a tough one. But here's your second question, Jimmy. Several airlines have adopted its country's traditional dress as its cabin crew uniform. In the 1980s, the flag carrier of this nation used what traditional clothing tracing back to the Goguryeo period as its uniform? It is made of two parts, a sort of jacket called gyogori, tied to the body using straps called gorium.
Hanbok.
Hanbok is the right answer. Well done. Hanbok it is. There you go. That brings us to the end of the first round.
Oh, sorry.
With Pat
Wait,
on
it's
1,
showing Jimmy.
Dan
It says
on 3, Jayakanthan yet to open his account, and Jimmy Lee on 2.
Oh,
Here's
sorry,
the,
we still have one
right,
question.
it's showing one question for Jimmy.
Yeah.
Still.
one more question. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. What term in Sufism refers to chain or continuation of the spiritual genealogy of masters in the tariqa or school, descending through either Ali ibn Abu Talib or Abu Bakr? It is also the title of a 1981 Amitabh Bachchan film that drew considerable media attention because of the choice of casting of its 2 lead actresses.
Galafi?
No, I'm afraid not. Passing to Jayakanthan.
I'll pass.
Pat.
Pass.
Pat, I didn't hear you.
Pass.
Passing. Okay. Dan.
I'll pass.
Passing as well. Okay. So this is a famous film called Silsila, and Silsila refers to the chain or the continuation. Okay. Coming to round 2, clear 1, which is Pat. Pat, here are your first of your 2 questions. The periodic table is a 1975 short story collection by Primo Levi, where each story revolves around a chemical element. Which element lends its name to Levi's story, where 4 men get rich after they sell rivulets of an element released from a volcanic eruption? It is used in the extraction of gold and silver.
Mercury.
Mercury it is, Pat. That's 1 point to you. Here you go. Rivulets was the clue. Here is a question on maps. This German cartographer is credited with the first recorded usage of the term America in a 1507 world map. He was also the first to map South America as a continent separate from Asia, the first to produce a printed globe, and the first to create a printed wall map of Europe. Who is this?
Walze Müller.
That is the right answer. It is Martin Walse Muller. Dan, your question coming up. Calypso Deep in the Ionian Sea is the deepest part of the Mediterranean Sea. It is within the Hellenic Trench that extends from close to the south shore of Crete and ends near which island just offshore Anatolia? It is nicknamed the Island of the Sun.
I don't know. Cyprus.
Not Cyprus. Jayakanthan.
I'll pass.
Passing. Jimmy.
Pass.
And Pat.
Pass.
Passing. A huge statue once stood there. This is the Colossus of Rhodes, a statue to Helios, and probably that's why the nickname referencing the Island of the Sun. Next question to Dan. As per Spotify Wrapped 2023, playlists related to HBO's Succession saw a 350% spike in April, with users generating playlists based on each character. A 2013 song, which you see in the visual, by which avant-garde American artist is the most added to the Kendall Roy playlist? He burst onto the scene with the single Thinking About You in 2012.
Frank Ocean.
Frank Ocean is correct. You know the song?
Yeah, sure.
Super.
I'm not gonna sing it for you.
We'll keep that for the end. Thank you, Dan. That points to you. Jayakanthan, here's your question coming up. Which programming language was created by Microsoft for developing large applications and transpiles to a programming language that is integral to the World Wide Web by helping update and change both HTML and CSS?
TypeScript.
TypeScript it is. Well done. TypeScript it is, and you've opened your account. Here is your next question, Jayakanthan. Kane and Lynch was revealed to be in the same universe as which other IO interactive video game franchise? In Absolution, the title character is shown meeting Kane and Lynch while working on a contract assigned to him by the ICA.
This is Hitman.
It is Hitman. Well done. It is Hitman. Let's take a look there. There you go. And Jimmy, here is the first of your two questions. The Fall of the House of Usher features Werner, a Mephistophelian character with whom the ambitious Usher siblings make a pact with eventual fatal consequences. As a harbinger of death, Werner appears to the Usher characters just before they are never more seen alive. What is Werner's poetic form? If you ponder weak and weary, you'll find your answer deary.
Raven.
The Raven, yes, Werner is an anagram of Raven, one of Poe's poems. And here is your second question, Jimmy. Formed from the words Stachel, spikes, and Schwein, pig, Stachelschwein is the German word for which rodent? Its largest species by size is the third largest rodent in the world after the capybara and the beaver.
Porcupine.
The porcupine, yes, spikes. We will give you the clue there. It is the porcupine. And the next question coming up, round 3, to you, Pat. Designed by Pierre Balmain, what upper garment worn by women in Southeast Asia serves as the iconic crew uniform of Singapore Airlines? You may also identify the lower garment, a tube of fabric wrapped around the waist. The combo also serves as the basis for the uniforms adopted by Garuda Indonesia and Malaysian Airlines.
I had one or two answers. Do you want one or two answers?
Either will be fine, Pat.
I'll try sarong for the lower garment.
Yes, and the upper garment would be?
Kaya.
Kabaya. Yes, you got both. Yes. The sarong and the kabaya, the sarong kabaya. Well done. Here is your next question, Pat. What fiery tasting spreadable pork sausage is made using the trimmings from various meat cuts, fatback, and mixed with sun-dried chili peppers? A common feature on pizzas or eaten over a slice of bread, it is similar to sobrasada from the Spanish Balearic Islands.
Nduja.
Nduja it is. No time wasted there by Pat, and that is the answer. Points to you. Over to you, Dan, for your first of your two questions in this round. ESPN's 30 for 30 is a series of documentaries that revolve around the world of sports. The first episode followed Wayne Gretzky's move from the Edmonton Oilers to LA. What is the title of this episode? 2 words, 5 and 6 letters. A phrase that references a large sum of money and LA's NHL team.
King's Ransom.
King's Ransom it is. Well done. And here is your second question coming up. This is a South Korean webtoon which features supernatural beings suddenly appear out of nowhere to condemn people to an afterlife of suffering. Its title indicates the fate of individuals, that they are on the course to the underworld. Which webtoon, 9 letters, released by Netflix as a series in 2022?
Hellbound.
Hellbound it is. Well done. Jayakanthan, let's try the first of your two questions. Back to Henry Kissinger. Kissinger's foreign policy supported which dictator in Pakistan's military action against the nationalist movement in erstwhile East Pakistan in 1971? Named Operation Searchlight, the violence from this military action eventually resulted in the liberation of Bangladesh. I want his full name.
Yaya Khan.
It is Yahya Khan. Yes, it is Yahya Khan. Your second question, Jayakanthan. Back to Primo Levi. Which element lends its name to Levi's story, where a person is painting his apartment white using a pigment created from the dioxide of the element known for being strong and corrosion resistant? The bright white pigment is used widely in sunscreen as a UV blocking agent along with zinc oxide. Five seconds left.
This is aluminum.
It's not aluminum. Jimmy,
Pass.
passing to Pat.
Titanium?
Titanium it is. Yes, titanium dioxide. Well done. That's a good steal there from Pat. And here is Jimmy's first question in this round. This Ottoman cartographer's 1513 world map is the oldest known Turkish atlas to depict the New World. His Kitab-e-Bahriye, or the Book of Navigation, describes in detail the important ports and cities of the Mediterranean Sea. Who is this?
Ahmed the First.
No, it isn't. Passing to Jayakanthan.
I'll pass.
Passing to Dan.
Pass.
Passing to Pat.
Pass.
Passing. Okay. We would expect one of two. This is Piri Rice. Okay. Ahmed Mohedin Piri or Piri Rice. Either Piri or Rice would have been accepted. Right. Jimmy, here's your first question. Which period is regarded as having produced some of the oldest pottery in the world, which was decorated by impressing cords onto the surface of wet clay? With its nickname translating to rope patterned, the period began with the hunter-gatherers settling around 13,000 BCE as small communities around Shinonoki in Nagano.
Jaman?
Could you repeat that, Jimmy?
Jaman?
Yes, it is Jomon.
Oh,
Jomon,
nice.
well done. Nice.
Wow.
Nicely played. And we go on to round 4. To the first question to Pat. This graphic novel by Alice Oseman is about Charlie Spring, a teenager who falls in love with a popular rugby player, Nick Nelson, after sitting next to him in class. Its one-word title describes the feeling in one's chest during emotionally gripping moments in a relationship. Which graphic novel, 12 letters, distributed by Netflix as a series since 2022?
Heartstopper?
It is Heartstopper. Well done. And your second question coming up. The central doctrine of Islamic mysticism, what term is used extensively in Sufi poetry and literature to describe a selfless and burning love or passion for Allah? If you're unsure which Urdu or Arabic word to pick, simply name a 1997 film which saw Amir Khan and Juhi Chawla along with Ajay Devgan and Kajol.
Tafik?
No, I'm afraid not. Passing to Jayakanthan.
I'll pass.
Passing to Dan.
Pass.
And to Jimmy.
Pass.
Passing. Okay, it's the word for love in Urdu and Arabic is simply ishq. And that's the answer you're looking for. Moving from ishq to pork belly meat. Salt-cured pork belly meat typically found in a rolled form in northern Italy. What type is this? Deriving its name from an Italian diminutive for belly, the Calabrian variety has a protected designation of origin status. It is widely used for pasta carbonara instead of the traditional guanciale.
Porchetta?
Pancetta it is, no doubt there.
Wait,
1
wait,
point.
I said, I just want to make sure I got this right and you don't give me credit. I said porchetta.
You said porchetta?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. The Molloy Deep, 5,550 meters, is located on which strait that is the only deep connection between the Arctic Ocean and the world oceans. It is named after an 1893 expedition led by Fritjof Nansen that drifted through what was this route to exit the Arctic Ocean.
I'll pass.
Okay, passing to Jimmy,
Pass 2. Pass.
passing to Pat,
Pass.
passing. Over to you, Siddhant. What's the answer?
So this is the Fram expedition.
Fram. Oh, okay.
And
Just
this is the
name of
Fram
ship.
Strait.
Yep. Okay. This 16th century Dutch cartographer is recognized as the creator of the first modern atlas, the Theatrum Orbis Terrarum. This Brabantian, who was also the first person to propose continental drift as the explanation for the geometric similarity between the coasts of America and Europe. Who is this?
Mercator.
You said Mercator?
Yeah.
No, it isn't Mercator. Jayakanthan?
I'll pass.
Passing to Jimmy
Pass.
and to Pat.
Pass.
Passing. Okay. So this is Abraham Ortelius. We will accept alternatives, Ortels or the Wirtels map. Okay. Jayakanthan, your question coming up. As per Spotify Wrapped 2023, a 2018 number, which you see in the visual, from the album High as Hope, by which British indie rock band, is among the most added to the Logan Roy playlist. The titular lead vocalist of the band is among the few female artists of the 21st century to headline at Glastonbury.
Florence and the Machine.
Florence and the Machine is absolutely right. Well done. And the next question coming to you, JK. 30 for 30 looks at the life and death of an NBA star who died suddenly from a cocaine-induced heart attack. He died 2 days after being picked number 2 overall in the 1986 draft by the Boston Celtics. What is the title of this episode, 7 and 4 letters, a phrase used to refer to an unprejudiced look at a situation that includes the player's surname? We're looking for a 2-word answer here. Yes, Jayakanthan.
Balanced view.
Could you repeat that, please?
It's a balanced view.
No, not a balanced view. Jimmy Lee,
Pass.
Dan,
Without bias.
without bias is spot on. Well done. Without bias it is. And Jimmy, here's the first of your 2 questions. We are back to Kissinger. Kissinger's foreign policy supported which dictator in Argentina's state-sponsored action against political dissidents aligned with left-wing movements? Name the Dirty War. The period between 1974 and 1983 witnessed more than 20,000 people killed or disappearing.
Videla?
Could you repeat that, please?
Videla?
Videla. Okay, Videla is right. Jorge Rafael Videla. Nicely answered there, Jimmy. Here is your next question. The Sunda Trench, formed where the Australian Capricorn plates subduct under the Eurasian plate, is the deepest part of the Indian Ocean. Its deepest point can be found near which island, the sixth largest in the world and the largest entirely within its country?
Sumatra?
Could you repeat that?
Sumatra?
Yes, it is Sumatra. It is Sumatra. Well done. 2 out of 2 there. Round 5, the second half of the quiz. And it's very, very close. Which programming language, Pat, designed by Apple, incorporates the best of C and Objective-C and is the primary choice for creating applications for Apple's ecosystem? It is known for its ease of use and speed.
Swift.
It is Swift, and that was swiftly dispatched by Pat. 1 point to you, Pat. And here is your next question. Wolfenstein was revealed to be in the same universe as which other ID software video game franchise? Wolfenstein's B.J. Blazkowicz is the great-grandfather of an unnamed space marine working for the UAC who fights demons and the undead to save Earth from an apocalyptic invasion. That was a bit of a mouthful, but a very short answer is all that's needed.
Doom.
Doom it is. Well done. Dan, your first of 2, back to the fall of the House of Usher. This opens with the most telling needle drop of all time, a 1979 protest song about corporal punishment in schools. A line in the song literally symbolizes the poetic justice meted out to the venal Rufus Griswold by the Usher siblings. You don't need no education to figure out that this plot line raises a toast to which story?
Okay. So if I'm following this correctly, I think we want the Cask of Amontillado.
Yes, it is the Cask of Amontillado, and the song was Pink Floyd, The Wall, Brick in the Wall. Well worked out, Dan. That's 1 point to you. And your next question. Vietnam Airlines has adopted a simple version of what long split tunic worn over silk trousers as its cabin crew uniform. The term can be used to describe any clothing attire that consists of a long tunic, such as a naat bin.
Yeah. I'm just gonna pass. I don't.
Okay, passing to Jayakanthan.
I'll pass.
Jimmy.
Ao Dai?
Ao Dai it is. Well played, Jimmy.
Nice.
Points to you. Good steal there. And JK, here's the first of your 2 questions. Aside from Andy Warhol, several artists have incorporated Marilyn Monroe as a subject in their works. Which visual artist has used pin-ups of Marilyn on several occasions for silkscreen prints and collages? Due to legal reasons, he couldn't use a picture of Marilyn for his most famous collage co-created in 1967 with Jan Howarth.
I'll pass.
Passing to Jimmy.
Pass.
To Pat.
Blake.
Blake,
Blake.
it is. Yes, we'll accept that. It's Peter Blake. The collage being referred to is Sergeant Pepper's. Good steal there, Pat. And Jayakanthan, here is your next question. Formed from the words gurtle or girdle or belt and tier, animal, gurtel tier is the German word for which cingulate. These New World creatures were previously classified with pangolins and aardvarks. Gurteltier or Gürteltier.
This is armadillo.
It is the armadillo. Yes, it is the armadillo with pangolins and aardvarks. I think that was a nice clue there. Points to you, Jayakanthan. Jimmy, here's your question. As per Spotify Wrapped 2023, a 2006 single seen there in the visual by which Canadian artist is the most added song to the Shiv Roy playlist. The song also features a rap verse by Timbaland, with whom she has also collaborated on other numbers such as Give It To Me.
Nelly Furtado.
Nelly Furtado, and the song being Man Eater. Next question to Jimmy. 30 for 30 examines the story of the rare and valuable T206 Honus Wagner baseball card. What is the title of this episode, 4 and 5 letters? A phrase used for an object that has great significance and is highly desired but nearly impossible to find, much like the object from Arthurian legend.
Holy Grail.
Holy Grail, yes. Holy Grail it is. And our next round starting with Pat once again. Which people, developed a type of clay pottery known as hari, which forms an integral part of their identity, with vessels often passed across generations. Although their pottery traces back to the Iron Age, these people who speak the namesake language are best known for their stone sculptures, particularly at Great Zimbabwe.
Shona.
Yes, it is Shona. Well done, Pat. It is Shona. And here is your second question, Pat. Kissinger's foreign policy supported which dictator in Indonesia's invasion of East Timor in 1975 to overthrow the Fretilin regime? Named Operation Lotus, Opera Seroya, this action resulted in a disastrous occupation of East Timor that ended only in 1999 after the intervention of an international peacekeeping force.
Sukarno.
Sukarno, you said? No,
Yes.
it is not Sukarno. Going to Jayakanthan.
Suharto.
Pardon?
Suharto.
Suharto it is. Yes, it is Suharto.
Like that happens on like 75% of Indonesian dictator questions. It's like unavoidable.
Okay, Dan, here is your question coming up. Marilyn Monroe. This photograph titled Sad Marilyn was taken by which photographer after he continued to shoot Marilyn until she dropped her guard, providing a glimpse behind her public persona? This pioneer of fashion photography, who revolutionized the industry with his black and white portraits, was also known for his series in the American West.
Avedon.
Yes, it is Avedon. Well done, Richard Avedon it is. Nice, Dan. Here's your second question. Which element lends its name to the story where Primo Levi extracts compounds consisting of the titular element from plants and then injects it into rabbits to see if it can be a potential cure for diabetes. This highly reactive element forms part of the structure of DNA and RNA.
Oh man, I don't know. Sodium.
Okay, not sodium. Jayakanthan,
I pass.
passing to Jimmy.
Phosphorus.
It is phosphorus. Well done. So
Nice.
phosphorus actually forms the skeleton of between the ribose and deoxyribose sugars, forming the skeleton of both DNA and RNA.
Okay.
Well
Didn't know.
stolen, Jimmy, there with phosphorus. Here is your first question, Jayakanthan. The deepest point of the Southern Ocean, Meteor Deep, is located in which trench, lying 100 kilometers to the east of the namesake island, consisting of 4 groups: Traverse, Candlemas, Central Islands, and Southern Thule. It forms a British overseas territory with South Georgia. Your time up, Jayakanthan.
Tierra del Fuego.
Not Tierra del Fuego. Passing to Dan.
Pass.
Passing to Jimmy.
Pass.
And to Pat.
Pass.
If anyone had any guesses on this?
South Sandwich.
Let's take a look at the answer. There it is. It is the South Sandwich, or even if you just said sandwich, that would be fine. Well, doesn't matter. Here's another question to you, Jayakanthan. In the fall of the House of Usher, there are only 2 likable members of the Usher family, both named after titles of poems. One is Roderick Usher's granddaughter, Lenore. The other is his wife, to whom he often recites lines from Poe's last complete poem. What is the name of this maiden whom you may know, who lived many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea? Your time is up, Jayakanthan.
Sarora.
Not Saroro. Dan?
Annabelle Lee.
Annabelle Lee it is. Yes, the question had it. In a kingdom by the sea, her name was Annabelle Lee. 1 point to you there, Dan. Stolen well. Here's your question, Jimmy. Which luncheon meat is made from finely grounded cured pork, incorporating at least 15% small cubes of pork fat, and then flavored with black pepper grains and myrtle berries? Its name possibly comes from the contraption used to achieve the finely mashed nature of the cured meat.
Mortadella.
Mortadella it is, from the Italian for mortar, and that's how you get the word mortadella. Nicely played, Jimmy. Here is your next question. Watch Dogs was revealed to be in the same universe as which other Ubisoft video game franchise? In Origins, Bayek of Siva is provided certain important CCTV footage shot by Aidan Pierce from Watch Dogs.
Assassin's Creed?
Assassin's Creed is absolutely right. Well done, Jimmy. Assassin's Creed. And before we move on to the seventh round, scores, Jimmy Lee leading with 13, closely followed by Pat on 11, Dan on 10, and Jayakanthan on 6. Very close game. Let's see what happens over the last 16 questions of this quiz. Pat, here's the first question for you in round 7. Which artist, known for her carefully inexact repetition of other artists' works, created over 30 repeats of Andy Warhol's portrait of Marilyn over 6 decades in different formats and color permutations? When asked about his own silkscreen technique, Warhol once said, "I don't know, ask X so-and-so." So who is this artist?
Sherman.
Could you repeat that, Pat?
Sherman.
No, it's not Sherman. Jayakanthan,
I'll pass.
Dan,
Pass.
and Jimmy.
Pass.
Okay. Here's the answer. Elaine Sturtevant. That's a tough one. And your next question, Pat. 30 for 30 creates a profile of the rise and fall of USC's football program during Pete Carroll's coaching tenure in the 2000s. What is the title of this episode? 6 and 3 letters, 2 words, a reference to an important event from Greek mythology that includes the name of the USC's football team.
Trojan War.
It is Trojan War, Pat. Well done. It is Trojan War. Well worked out. Dan, here's the first of your 2 questions. Formed from the words Fluss, meaning river, and Pferd, meaning horse, Flusspferd is the German word for which mammal? Despite its appearance, its closest living relatives are cetaceans, from which it diverged 55 million years ago.
I mean, this would be cruel. Hippopotamus.
It is the hippopotamus. Hippo, horse, and hippopotamus is the river, I think. So hippopotamus, well done. Here is the second of your questions, Dan. What term in Sufism refers to the passing away or annihilation of the self, a concept interpreted as breaking down of the individual ego and a recognition of the fundamental unity of God, creation, and the individual self. It is also the title of a 2006 Amir Khan film that marked the comeback of a popular actress after 5 years.
I will pass.
You'll pass. Jayakanthan?
Is this Fana?
It is Fana, and it marked the return of Kajol, the actress. Good steal there, Jayakanthan. And here is the first of your 2 questions coming up. This 15th century Venetian cartographer created the most accurate map of the world up until that time for Henry the Navigator. His contributions resulted in an area on the moon being named after him, where Apollo 13 was supposed to land. Who is this?
Is Mercator?
No, this is not Mercator. Passing to Jimmy.
Pass.
Passing to Pat.
Pass.
And Dan.
Pass.
Any non-competitive guesses? Anyone?
No,
F-R-A,
man.
Fra, anything? There you go. Fra Mauro. Okay, that is the answer. Okay, next question coming to you, JK. What type of air-dried salted beef is prepared through a strict trimming process and aged for over 2 to 3 months to give it its characteristic purple shade? Originating in the Lombardy Valley, it gets its name from a diminutive form of the combination cooking method that uses both wet and dry heat.
This is pastrami.
No, it's not. You said pastrami. No, it isn't pastrami. Jimmy,
Brasai Lao.
could you say that again?
Brasai Lao.
I'll give it to you. It is Bresau La. Okay, it's good enough.
Is that
Sorry, Dan. I knew you were waiting.
is that
to
close
pounce
enough? I
on
don't
me.
know. I mean, I don't want.
I think it
Dan
would
to
be
get-
pronounced like Brazola would be like more close.
Okay,
I
sorry.
think it's-
I just
all
I've only
right.
seen it. I've only seen it
You're
written
going
out.
for
So
You're going for the
No,
right thing, for sure.
Interestingly, it's from the Italian for the word braised. Okay. And the next question to you, Jimmy. Here's the first of your two questions in this penultimate round. This comic book series by Vertigo is about a naive 10-year-old half-human, half-deer boy who wants to find his mother in a world ravaged by viral pandemic. It gets its name from the titular character's nickname, which stems from his fondness for candies. Which comic book, 5-5, that premiered as a series in Netflix in 2021? Okay, your time is over, Jimmy. Guesses?
sweet Bambi.
Sweet?
Bambi.
Okay, no. Passing to Jayakanthan.
The sweet tooth.
Sweet tooth,
Oh.
it is. Well done.
Oh man, that makes more
Good
sense.
steal there.
Good
JK,
answer.
here's your next question, Jimmy. No worries. Try this. Okay, back to Primo Levi. Which element lends its name to the story where Primo Levi is tasked with purifying benzene, but ends up creating an explosion after he uses the titular element in place of sodium? Together with sodium, this element forms a transmembrane ATPase pump that is active in all animal cells.
Potassium.
Potassium it is. Okay, no time needed there. This is a sodium-potassium pump. Okay, we start our last round, but before that, Jimmy on 15, Pat on 12, close behind, Dan on 11, and Jayakanthan on 8. It's anybody's game as we head into the last 8 questions of this quiz. First question to you, Pat. As per Spotify Wrapped 2023, a 2003 song, which you see in the visual there, from the album Michigan, by which American musician is the most added to the Roman Roy playlist? He is best known for the music he provided in a 2017 Luca Guadagnino film based on a 2000 novel by an Egyptian-born Italian-American writer.
Sufjan Stevens.
Yes, it is Sufjan Stevens, the song being Romulus and the film being Call Me By Your Name. Well played, Pat. That's an important point for you. And here is the final of your questions, directs. The Challenger Deep at the southern end of the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean is the deepest known point of the seabed of the Earth. It falls under the ocean territory of which island group that consists of 4 states that include Chuuk, Pohnpei, and Khosrae?
Micronesia.
Micronesia it is, or the Federated States of Micronesia. Well done, Pat. You couldn't have done better than that. 2 out of 2 to round off your directs. in this quiz. Dan, your final two questions. Splinter Cell was revealed to be in the same universe as which other Ubisoft video game franchise? Sam Fisher laments about how there aren't any spies like him anymore and brings up a guy who wore a bandana or something, only to be told that Snake had finally retired.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear it is. No time wasted there. Points to you. Your next question, Dan, and your final one. Which culture was notable for their distinctive geometric designs on dentate-shaped pottery made of low-fired earthenware? Originating from East Asia, they settled island Melanesia via seaborne migration between 1600 to 500 BCE and are the direct ancestors of the Austronesian peoples of Polynesia, Eastern Oceania, etc.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think I have it. I'll pass.
Okay, passing to you, Jayakanthan.
These are the Phoenicians.
No, not the Phoenicians. Pat?
Lapita?
Lapita it is. Yes, it is Lapita. Important steal there from Pat. Now in tying with Jimmy, but Jimmy still has his directs to play. Jayakanthan, here is the first of your two final questions. Hainan Airlines' uniform, designed by Lawrence Shu, takes inspiration from what long figure-fitting one-piece garment with a standing collar and an asymmetric left over right opening? It's also called the Mandarin gown.
The kimono.
Not the kimono. Passing to Dan.
Pass.
Passing to Jimmy.
Qipao.
What did you say?
Qipao.
Absolutely right. Pipao. Or if you had even said Cheong Sam, which was right up there, Zanse. Any of these answers would have been fine, but Pipao is absolutely acceptable, Jimmy. Important point, and you inch ahead there. And your second question, Jayakanthan, meanwhile, here it is. Sufism was earlier divided into two broad orders. What term was given to the liberal Mast Kalandar order, mostly made up of poor wandering monks? You may also identify the Urdu word that derives from this order, which forms the title of a 2013 Ranbir Kapoor film about a shameless small-time thief. And your answer is, Jayakanthan?
Tamasha.
Not Tamasha. Dan?
Pass.
Passing. Pat?
Pass.
And Jimmy?
Pass.
Passing. Okay, the word for shameless in Hindi or Urdu is besharam. So besharam or beshara is the answer that we were looking for. And Jimmy, these are your two final questions. Right now, you were just an inch ahead of Pat. 1 point separating the two of you. Let's see what happens. Here is the first of your two final questions. In this pseudo self-portrait from 1982, the artist assumes the persona of Marilyn, posing on the floor as a femme fatale Monroe. This photograph was part of a series titled Centerfolds by which artist, who created the series as a follow-up to the seminal untitled film stills of the late 1970s?
German.
Could you repeat that, Jimmy?
Sherman.
Sherman it is. Cindy Sherman. Important point there. Your 17 points. And here is the final question of this quiz. Jimmy, take it away. Which program language was developed by Google for building mobile and web applications on various platforms? Although originally called Dash, they changed 2 letters in this word to form a new name that conveyed its speed.
Dart.
Dart it is, and you couldn't have finished better than that. And that brings us to the end of this season of the Zephyr Quiz League. We all hope all of you enjoyed yourselves playing this, and congratulations to our 4 finalists. But our winner today happens to be Jimmy Lee. Well played, Jimmy.
Great match, everybody.
You
Great
just about
match.
missed last
Great
time,
match.
and you made it
Great
this
job,
time.
Jimmy.
Thanks for a wonderful season. Thanks for reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great playing with you all.
You guys are the best. This is the best league, I gotta say.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Pat, any last words to round off this season?
I'm going away to sort out Sukarno and Suharto once and for all.
We'll probably figure that again next season, hidden away somewhere else, possibly, and hope you get it right next time. That was just about a little bit of a miss. These things do happen in quizzes. It's all in the game. But thank you all for playing so well and so fairly. And with these final words, it's goodbye from all of us at the Zephyr Quiz League. Good night.